Did the Detroit Lions tip their hand when it comes to Kayvon Thibodeaux? Hello everyone, my name is Derek and welcome back to Detroit Lions Syndicate. You already know what we do on this channel. We talk about your favorite team, the Detroit Lions. So make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you won't miss an upload. The long-awaited time to see Kayvon Thibodeaux in action was April 1st, and we all wanted to check out the former Oregon Duck and the former projected #1 pick. Well, if you wanted to watch it, I know I wanted to see it. I could not. It was nowhere that I could find on television. I had to settle for clips on Twitter from somebody that was actually there. And speaking of teams that were actually there, representatives from every single team in the National Football League went to Oregon's Pro Day, probably specifically to see Kayvon Thibodeaux. Most of the NFL season, Kayvon Thibodeaux was the widespread #1 pick. And as Aiden Hutchinson began to kind of climb up the leaderboards, Kayvon began to fall. Then came the NFL Combine, where he decided he was going to do the bench press and the 40-yard dash, and then he was going to remove himself from the Combine. A lot of mock draft experts have Kayvon Thibodeaux falling and falling and falling down the board. Some even don't have him in the top 5. But with the Detroit Lions having the #2 overall pick, will they select Kayvon Thibodeaux second overall? It appears as though Brad Holmes has a fascination with Oregon Ducks. Last year, our first round pick was offensive tackle Penei Sewell, and it looks as though Kayvon Thibodeaux could be our first round pick this year. Now, all 32 teams were there, but the Detroit Lions were one of 2 teams to send 7 representatives down. According to a tweet from Jim Nagy, he says all 32 teams were there, including big groups from Lions 7, Seahawks 7, and the Giants 5. The New York Giants have 2 picks in the top 10. They're currently sitting at 5 and 7. The Seattle Seahawks are sitting at 9 after that trade with the Denver Broncos. And there's been a lot of speculation lately on if the Seattle Seahawks want to come up to that #2 spot. So the thing about it is, Brad Holmes, how does he feel about Kayvon Thibodeaux? One of the things they put on YouTube was his post-workout interview. In that interview, he said that the most ridiculous thing that he's heard was that he is not the best player in the draft. And you have to wonder with Kayvon, is it cockiness or confidence? The big thing about Kayvon was his work ethic and his motor. Would he bring that motor every down, every game, every play? And the question will not be answered until we see him on the NFL field. Now, I'm not a big believer in how people do at their pro days. We saw Tim Boyle working out on Twitter the other day. He looked phenomenal, and he is absolute trash. So, bringing it back to Kayvon Thibodeaux, should the Detroit Lions draft Kayvon Thibodeaux second overall? I put out a poll to see what you guys had to say about the Detroit Lions drafting Kayvon Thibodeaux after his efforts in his pro day. The result says 47% says yes, they need to take him at 2. 27% says no, I still don't want to take him. And 26% says I'll take him, but only in a trade back scenario. Well, it actually says but unfortunately you can't edit YouTube polls. So it looks like Kayvon Thibodeaux's draft stock, as far as the Detroit Lions fans, have gone up after they've seen him at the pro day. Now, my opinion is this. If Aiden Hutchinson is available at 2 and the Lions cannot get a trade back, you got to take Aiden Hutchinson. Some mock drafts have Travon Walker even leapfrogging Kayvon Thibodeaux. I still honestly do not believe that Kayvon Thibodeaux is the right fit for our culture. He seems as though he might be a little too much about himself and not about the team. Again, I'm just a guy that makes YouTube videos in his basement. These guys watch him all the time. I will say this, is that when the Detroit Lions had the Inside the Den, a lot of the scouts were talking about guys that don't give a lot of effort, and they weren't being specific about, obviously, who they were talking about. I wonder if Kayvon Thibodeaux was one of those guys, which is why 7 individuals went to see him. The reason that I believe 7 of the Detroit Lions staff went to go see Kayvon was to get a view from all different angles and also to put those 7 ideas together as 7 different opinions on what they feel his motor and stuff like that was. We will see April 29th when the first round of the NFL draft takes place. So let me know in the comments below. Do you want the Detroit Lions to draft Kayvon Thibodeaux. Me, I'm taking Hutch all day. If he's gone, trading back. I would not mind a trade back scenario where we were able to trade back if we took him that way. But me personally, I would rather take Jermaine Johnson or someone like that. So it is what it is. We shall see. Brad Holmes has not let us down yet at the draft. So we'll see if that trend starts now. My name is Derek. This is Detroit Lions Syndicate. Make sure you guys subscribe because we're on our way to 2,000 subscribers, and we have a goal in mind to get there before the NFL draft. And as usual, only you can make that happen. So you guys take care of yourself, and as always, go Lions.